only thing I can find is that you really craved the attention, and you wanted to get the attention, and you were so invested in issues of social justice, and you knew that this was a sore spot for everybody in this country. You knew this was a country that was slowly trying to heal past injustices and current injustices and trying to make a better future for each other. And it was a hard road. And you took some scabs off some healing wounds and you ripped them apart for one reason. You wanted to make yourself more famous. And for a while it worked. Everybody was talking about you. The lights are on you. You were actually throwing a national pity party for yourself. And why would you do such a thing? Why would you, I understand, you crave the attention so much, but why would you betray something like social justice issues, which you care so much about? And the only thing I could conclude is that, and I acknowledge, there are wonderful sides to you. There are very giving and charitable and loving sides to you, but you have another side of you that is profoundly arrogant and selfish and narcissistic. And you will spend the first 150 days of your sentence in the Cook County Jail. And that will start today, right here, right now. Mr. Smollett, though the jury found you guilty and I've sentenced you as I have, you have the right to appeal the findings and rulings of the court or ask your sentence to be modified. To do those things, you need to file a notice of appeal in writing within 30 days. You may also file a motion to modify your sentence, which would have to be filed in writing within 30 days. Anything not stated in those filings are waived for purposes of appeal. You cannot afford lawyers or transcripts. They would be provided free of charge. Do you have any questions?
No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I would like to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay.
Good morning and welcome to Good News Friday, where we do only good news. It's been a long week. You sometimes feel like a battered person looking at the news day in and day out. You're like, oh my God, what kind of a horrible psyop will I be trapped inside today? Well, not now. We have the antidote, the Good News Friday show, where we cover only good news. And the good news today is that guilty Jussie Smollett is going to jail while innocent Kyle Rittenhouse walks free. A guilty Michael Avenatti is going to jail while innocent Donald Trump is preparing to go run for president again in 2024. And CNN is being sold for parts today to Discovery Network, while Nick Sandmann is a multimillionaire. Some of those dollars, CNN dollars. Baby, maybe America can be saved. We'll find out, but we start today with the wild, wall-to-wall, ready for prime time, Jussie Smollett conclusion of a 3-year-long escapade. Jussie Smollett, of course, on trial for lying to police in 6 felony counts. He was found guilty of 5 of them. Jussie Smollett staged a hate crime hoax. Hate crime for his race, hate crime for his sexual preference, homophobic, racist, he said. MAGA people came at me. They put a noose around my neck. They took my Subway sandwich. It was a delicious tuna fish footlong. I was going to have a wonderful night with my tuna fish footlong from Subway. It's 2 a.m. There's a polar vortex. It's negative 21 degrees. That's exactly when you go out for Subway in Chicago. Time is now for a hate crime. And there's no place like MAGA country downtown Chicago in the posh financial and fashion district. That's where all the MAGA people live. That's right. And my attackers were white, he said. Jussie Smollett took the noose and tightened it around his neck before the police got to his apartment. Jussie Smollett paid his attackers, who were not white, but they happened to be black and immigrants, and their names are the Osundaro brothers, and they testified against Jussie Smollett. He paid them in check. Yikes! And, ladies and gentlemen, Jussie Smollett is now going to jail. We are very happy to report to you. Many say 150 days in jail, Benny? Well, that's not enough. But I say to you, this is a victory. Jussie Smollett is wokeness personified. He is the distillation of a narcissistic, petulant culture obsessed with their own identity in so much as they get power from it, so that they can weaponize their identity, whether that be gender identity or sexual identity or racial identity, leveraging that against a system in order to get power from the system. This trial and Jussie Smollett is the final note, the absolute conclusion, the pure distillation of what it looks like to have a society with the incorrect virtue mechanisms, with the incorrect stimuli. We have been signaling for so long that as long as you are the most oppressed, as long as we live inside the oppression Olympics here in America, that you will be rewarded. Your reward will be attention, fame, more movie deals. You will get on the intersectional docket of actors you must cast in certain roles, singers you must have sing certain songs. You will be welcomed to the White House or the gallery while the president gives a speech. That was where we were careening towards, and it was all stopped cold yesterday with the sledgehammer of justice. And the judge dropped a sledgehammer of justice on Jussie Smollett, and we applaud this. Jussie Smollett was very famous. Now he's a joke. Dave Chappelle's making jokes about him. Comedians make jokes about him. This was all talked about in the trial. Judge Lynn excoriated Jussie Smollett in a lava meltdown, wreckage of a rant. It burned the mask off Jussie Smollett's face. It toasted the Subway sandwich in his pocket. It melted the MAGA caps on the Osundaro brothers, black immigrants from Africa who are MAGA supporters. Ladies and gentlemen, it was severe. Jussie Smollett is going to jail. He must pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. Jussie Smollett will get 30 months probation, and the judge, a thing of beauty. Listen to this.
And what happened? Turns out that you're not a victim of a hate crime. You're not a victim of a racial hate crime. You're not a victim of a homophobic hate crime. You're just a charlatan pretending to be a victim of a hate crime. And that's shameful, especially from the family you got brought up with your family values. It's so sad.
You are a charlatan, the judge says. Pretending to be the victim of a hate crime, you are now a permanently convicted felon. It was incredible to watch this. The judge, clearly not a MAGA supporting Republican, clearly not a Trump supporter. The judge probably very, very personally liberal, just dropping the hammer, and rightfully so. What the judge said in his sentencing of Jussie Smollett is that Jussie Smollett robbed, through premeditation, robbed the city of Chicago in their already stretched thin police resources, and then robbed other legitimate hate crime victims of having people believe their stories. Now it's called you're pulling a Jussie. You're pulling a Jussie, the judge said. You're stealing from legitimate hate crime victims. And I thought he hit the nail on the head, but I didn't think he went far enough here. Here's why I didn't think he went far enough. Because the real victims of Jussie Smollett are you. You. The hate crime is being perpetrated by Jussie Smollett. You have to change the paradigm here. He wanted to be the victim of a hate crime because Jussie Smollett was actually so hate-filled. Jussie Smollett is a seething, hate-filled, narcissistic, petulant little charlatan who wanted to get headlines because he wanted to be the victim. Yet he himself is the one perpetrating the hate crime. Who were the real victims of the hate crime? MAGA supporters, Trump supporters, red state Americans, white people. The real victims of Jussie Smollett's hate crime other than his Subway sandwich, which presumably I don't think ever got eaten. Very sad story there. Left in the snow during a polar vortex. Where is that Subway sandwich? Who can know? It belongs in the Smithsonian. The real victims were a couple of immigrants who were snookered and lied to by Jussie Smollett and paid for by check. And then you. Hundreds of millions of Americans who he sought to defame and slander and libel your good name. Jussie Smollett is a liar who will go to prison now for his hate crime. Jussie Smollett is the person who is now guilty of a hate crime. And this is what we call blindness. This is cultural blindness. When the people who are anti-fascist, that's what they call themselves, are actually the closest things to fascists. When the people who claim not to be racist, anti-racist, are the closest thing we have to racism in this country. There's an entire movement based on that. This is wokeism. Wokism is the reverse of everything it claims to be. Right now in Florida, the Don't Say Gay bill actually doesn't mention gay at all. It's only about protecting parents' rights and the rights of teeny children, like little kindergartners, to not be sexualized outside of their parents' consent or knowledge. Like, duh, that's exactly what should happen. It's satanic and demonic to sexualize little children, and it shouldn't be happening, period. It's a wonderful law. It's really important. And places like Disney should be totally on board with this because it's Disney's job to protect children's innocence, or at the very least, that's why Disney was created. I think they've strayed very far from that. But yeah, it's the reverse. They say that they're protecting children by injecting them with some type of perverse or sick sexuality at a young age, exposing them to these things outside of their parents' consent. That is not protecting a child. That's just harming a child, perhaps for life. And so it's always the reverse of what they say it is. It's always the opposite. The people who claim to be anti-racist are racist. The people who claim to be woke are actually regressive. And that's what Jussie Smollett is. He claimed that he was the victim of a hate crime while he was executing the most famous hate crime in American history, modern American history, right now. So Jussie Smollett will be going to jail. Jussie Smollett committed a hate crime against you, against me, against regular, peaceful, patriotic Americans, and thank the Lord he's going to prison. Jussie Smollett, classic, had a meltdown. He's a great actor. Had a wonderful meltdown in the courtroom. It's like, who is this guy? Like, really? Such a tough guy. Such a tough guy. When he gets thrown in prison for a couple months, it's weird. He's talking about putting his fist into things and like, he's not suicidal? I don't know. What does Jussie Smollett have on Hillary Clinton? Does Jussie Smollett have Hillary Clinton's server? We will maybe find out. Here's Jussie Smollett having a petulant meltdown, proving the judge right. He is a charlatan, pretending to be a victim. Jussie Smollett, give him the Oscar. Go.
That's what I was about to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay.
In case you're wondering, that's not normal and probably not smart either, because they're going to have to go back to that judge in order to try and get his sentence limited or get, more leniency. The judge just time after time kept smashing his gavel down and being like, no, rejected. They tried to get the trial thrown out. No, rejected. They tried to get leniency on the prison sentence. No, rejected. The judge had a beautiful line where he said, hey, the wheels of justice turn slowly, and then the hammer of justice falls quickly. Love this judge. Smollett was led out of the court, and then raised his fist in a Black Power salute and yelled, "I am not suicidal. I am innocent." Okay, once again, do you have information that will lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton? Is that why he's saying this? If anything happens to me in there, I did not do it to myself, and you must all know that, he said. Astonishing and shocking the entire court. You could hear gasps and people being like, oh, come on. Again, if you have information that will lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton, Jussie Smollett, let us know right now. We'll be happy to cover it on our show. Can you do a FaceTime from prison? We'll find out. He faced a maximum of 3 years in prison, so he should be whistling Dixie, quite frankly, that he only gets 150 days. And once again, to the people saying that this is way too little time, this guy's friends with the Obamas. He's friends with Michelle Obama. He was texting with the DA, Kim Foxx, when these charges were first brought up. Kim Foxx dropped all these charges and gave him community service. I mean, take the W. Take the win. The way things are going right now, Jussie Smollett should be out, planting flowers for community service and not have any penalties at all. He'll have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. He has his career wrecked. He has his life wrecked, and he's going to jail. And he's a permanent felon. Good. Those are the wheels of justice turning. Take the W. Sometimes we got to just put our heads down and be like, hey, this is the lost city of Chicago. We will take little glimmers of light when we can. Smollett declined to make a statement after the hearing. The actor showed up to court 10 minutes late for the entire affair. Petulant child. His attorneys spent an hour arguing that the trial was unfair. The judge threw that out. Judge Lynn rejected their motion and said that nothing was unconstitutional about his trial. Smollett's 92-year-old grandmother, Molly, gave an impassioned statement slamming the media coverage. Yeah. Wasn't great. I watched it. We watched it for hours and hours and hours yesterday. Us on our, we were on, like the producers of this show, Danny, ALX, myself, were like watching this being like, when will it be over? It was its own melodrama. Went on for hours and hours. But a big payoff in the 4th, 5th, and 7th act, I guess, late into the evening. Smollett's older brother, Joel, fumed at prosecutors for the treatment of his family and said the trial was a reincarnation of Al Capone's trial. Well, that's cultural appropriation. Al Capone's Italian, so you can't do that. This is MAGA country. Can't do it. That's racist. What? It was so weird. What's the conclusion here? The conclusion here is this is going to have a chilling effect on people that think that these kind of things are funny or interesting. You're seeing all across the country, we watch this with Turning Point USA, that there are hate crime hoaxes that spawn and spring up on campuses all over the nation. And it's a dangerous thing because it can cause people to really spiral. People can get hurt. When these things are faked, when they're not real, when they're just used for attention, not good. You should have penalties for that. We don't need more people picking at the scabs of pain in this country. We want those scabs to heal. And we want people to go on and live peacefully and to have nice lives and to not care about the amount of melanin in their skin and to have equal opportunity, as Martin Luther King said, that he has a dream. His kids will be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin, which is precisely what happened yesterday. Jussie Smollett was judged by the content of his character, and his character was found to be trash. And so Jussie Smollett's going to jail. And he should. Beautiful to watch. Kyle Rittenhouse is free, and Jussie Smollett is going to jail. Well, this is all bound to not help Democrats who, you may remember, the tweets are still up, talked about the modern-day lynching is what Kamala Harris called it as it pertained to Jussie Smollett. And Joe Biden's tweets are still up, protecting Jussie Smollett, right? Talking about Jussie Smollett, this and that. It's such an embarrassment. They haven't even deleted these tweets. They're still online. You can go and look at them. No ramifications, no remorse for these people. They just pulled, they were complicit in a hate crime against you, and they're continuing, ladies and gentlemen, the hate crime against you, your pocketbook, your wallet, gas prices, inflation, the vaccine mandates, your open border, your Afghanistan crisis, it's all a hate crime against you. They just hate you. They hate this country. And guess what? The country is starting to pick up what they're laying down and hating them right back. Brutal poll numbers for Joe Biden this morning. I think they thought that maybe like looking tough against Putin would help him out. Not true. President Biden and his fellow Democrats have lost ground to Republicans on several key issues important to voters, according to the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal, we trust that polling. Why do we trust it? Because polling is broken. And if you don't know how to poll conservatives and Republicans, then you are going to find a broken poll. This is how you get polls saying that Joe Biden was going to win Wisconsin by 25 points and that Joe Biden was going to win 40 states, right? You have these polls saying that Hillary Clinton was going to beat Donald Trump in like 50 states. Whoa! It's all fake because these pollsters don't know how to poll Republicans. We're going to believe this poll because the Wall Street Journal is owned by News Corp, owns Fox News. They have a very conservative readership. People are going to answer their polls. So when you get a phone call as a Republican and they say, "Hi, I'm CNN calling. Can you give me answers?" You're not going to get the correct polling numbers from that because Republicans hate CNN. They hate corporate media, and they watch this show. And we just want to thank you. We had a record viewership day yesterday. And so thanks a lot for watching all of our content from Jussie Smollett. A new Wall Street Journal poll finds a troubling sign for the party seeking to extend its controlling majority of Congress for another 2 years. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. The Wall Street Journal numbers are brutal. Joe Biden job approval, 57% disapprove. Yikes, you ain't coming back from that. 57% disapprove. I mean, that's worse than Donald Trump at this point. Again, it's so important to state Donald Trump had every single bit of wind at his front, not at his back. Joe Biden has the wind at his back. If he didn't, he would fall right over because Joe Biden isn't alive. That's why Joe Biden walks around like a robot. We literally think he needs help walking. Why does he walk so weird? We need to do an investigation into that. Joe Biden had the wind at his front. Joe Biden was fighting every conceivable scandal that they could throw at him, plus the kitchen sink. And yet, Donald Trump was fighting that. And yet, Donald Trump had higher polling numbers than Joe Biden does right now. Oh, it's wonderful to see the corrupt system collapsing. We will build something new and beautiful in its place. Is Biden focused on the most important issues? 39% agree, 58% disagree. Yeah, that tracks. Is the direction of the country in the right direction or wrong direction? 63% say it's the wrong direction. 26% say it's the right direction. 26% of people. You're just always going to have the people like who are drooling with the microwave brain, right? Going on and the hole in the middle of their head. And they just sit there and they're like watching MSNBC and going, yes, more information. They're just NPCs, right? They're just hollow, like the gush of wind through their eardrums, right? You can hear whoosh. You can hear the sound. You're always going to get 26% of people that just don't know what the hell's going on, right? Don't follow anything. That's what this reflects. But the people who are paying attention are saying that everything is terrible. If anyone's like read a headline or has a functional brainstem, they're saying, no, everything's going bad. This is very bad, and it's just another puncture in the hull of the Titanic. As you get into the punctures in the Titanic, USS Biden, this is what it looks like. The holes are gaping and it's taking on water. This ship's headed to the bottom of the ocean. Joe Biden handling of the economy, 59% disapprove. Handling of inflation, 63% disapprove. Handling of the borders, 57% disapprove. Fighting crime, 56% disapprove. Woof. Yet Joe Biden sitting there at the State of the Union being like, we will fund the police. Fund the police. And AOC is like, no. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens in the midterm. Voters' views of both political parties are changing wildly as well. 46% view the GOP positively, and they're going to support them in November. 41% say Dems. That's so weird to have a GOP advantage on just the generic ballot like that. You start to see advantages like that when you break it out into particular politicians. For instance, fundraising numbers came out today for the Florida gubernatorial race. Ron Desantis is on the ballot in November. Ron DeSantis raised $8 million this last month. And all of the Democrats running against him combined, all of them combined, raised $1 million. So Ron DeSantis is going to win by exactly 700 billion points in Florida. It's not going to be pretty. Also, it's amazing. This is what happens when you have a strong Republican leadership. Ron DeSantis is going to carry seats like crazy because Democrats aren't going to show up and vote because Democrats just don't, they know they have it good down here. That's why every Democrat's trying to vacation down here if you're AOC or Eric Swalwell, or live down here if you're Nancy Pelosi, right? Every Democrat wants to come and live in Florida. They know they have it good. They need to fight their little cultural battles, right? And lie. The Don't Say Gay bill, right? They need to lie about it. By the way, I just said gay. What does that mean? Are cops going to break into my studio right now? I'm in Florida. Are they going to haul me away? I don't know. Come on. Come get me. Come on. I just said the word gay. Is that what happens? What's going on? Do I get arrested now? We'll find out. Please don't put me in the cell with Jussie Smollett, by the way. Please don't put... Even though our live streams from the cell, our live streams from that cell would be insane. We would have a very fun time. Me and Jussie, the Benny and Jussie show. Would you tune in? Would be wild. Jussie Smollett is in solitary confinement, which means he's sharing a cell with his attacker. Very cruel. That's a headline from the Babylon Bee. All right, back to the polling, ladies and gentlemen. Back to the polling. Ron DeSantis cleaning up in Florida. Florida's going to become so red this cycle, and it's because of numbers like this. Is inflation under control? Well, 47% of voters believe the GOP would be best to get inflation under control. Best to reduce crime, 46% GOP advantage, 26 Dems. I mean, that's 20-point split. 20-point split. Best to rebuild the economy, 47% GOP, 34% Dems. Secure the border, 51% GOP, 25% Dems. That's the strongest there. But all GOP scraping the top of the 40s and 50%. And the Dems slogging all the way down into 25% to secure the border, 30% to get inflation under control. And that's what people care about, because people care about piercing the veil. There's a concept that's called piercing the veil. And in politics, what that means is when you affect someone's day-to-day life. Most people, I know this is going to come as a shock, and it comes as a shock to my wife and I because we talk about politics day and night, but most people go about their days and they care about the NFL, they care about seeing Batman, they care about watching their kids at T-ball. They actually don't think about politics day in and day out. If you're watching this, dear viewer, maybe you're one of those people, like me, who care about politics obsessively. I think that it's a way to save the country. I think it's why God put me on this earth for this time, but this is my role. This is my mission. This is my obsession. You can only have one in life, and so this is my obsession, right? Making colorful and important political commentary that people are interested in. So that's what I do for a living. Maybe you love politics that much, but most people don't. And so piercing the veil is when a decision made in Washington actually pierces into somebody's life and affects them and hurts them. Now, that would be $5 gasoline. That would be a 100% increase in their grocery bill. That would be not being able to find a car, or not being able to pay rent, or having to wear a mask on an airplane, or losing their job because of a vaccine mandate. Those are decisions made in Washington that affect someone's life. And there's been a lot of those lately. Washington would play a really smart game that would be stay the hell out of people's lives, and actually will stay the hell out of Washington. That's the way the game was played for a long time. And people loved it. And Washington got to sort of do whatever they wanted. And now they can't help themselves. The nature of the same people that brought you Jussie Smollett is to mess with your life, to mess with our systems. They can't leave the hell enough alone. They can't let us alone. And so they're going to pay. They're going to pay. These are the most horrific numbers I have ever read for Democrats. Listen to this. This is broken out based on demographics. Republicans beat Democrats among Hispanics and are at 27% among black voters, which is what? Listen, if Republicans get like above 12% with black voters, it's seen as like a huge win for Republicans. Winning Hispanics, beating by 9, the Wall Street Journal shows by 9 percentage points, winning Hispanic voters, you're done. You're talking about the end of the Democratic Party in our lifetime. They're finished. Because right now the Democratic Party isn't really a party. It's just a coalition of the dispossessed. It's simply a bunch of people that have been cobbled together, that don't actually like each other, that have totally differing opinions and worldviews, that have a totally different set of agenda items that they wish to accomplish and things they want to do. And they're cobbled together by the fact that Democrats tell them that they're oppressed. That's why when you watch Jussie Smollett's interview with Robin, the ABC News reporter, the famous interview where he cried, her name was Robin something. He has all of these medallions up and down his chest. Every Black Power symbol, every gay rights symbol, every little like unique little group, right? Cause for applause. And you have all those little groups up and down his chest. And what he was trying to do there is to signal to the overall Democratic Party, which is just the coalition of the dispossessed, you should all support me. Look, I'm wearing your totem. I'm wearing your symbol. A symbol of the Republican Party is the American flag. The symbol of my movement is the American flag, something that we all agree on. That's like it. That's the symbol of my movement. The symbol of the Democratic Party is like, he looked like a NASCAR driver, like with all the little like blings and medallions and little doodads up and down his jacket. You got to check it out. It's like such an embarrassing display. Anyway, the point is that that's the modern day breakdown. And if you start losing and breaking off that like flimsy little dispossessed coalition, well, then you're going to be in huge trouble. And that's what this poll shows. Wall Street Journal survey found that Republicans are making massive gains among minority groups, 9 percentage points with Hispanic voters. And that, excuse me, the two parties have been tied among Hispanic voters in the Journal's survey since November. So the same poll, Republicans were tied. Now they lead by 9 percentage points. Well, that's what tanking the economy does to you. By the way, maybe Democrats are looking at their open border policies and saying, perhaps this is a bad idea to bring in people that are traditionally conservative, that are Christian, that come from traditional households. Maybe they won't agree that there are 279,000 genders. Perhaps they won't agree with childhood sexualization and indoctrination. Yikes. Democrat margins eroded among black voters who favored Democrats for Congress for 35 percentage points, down from 56 points. So that's a 20-point collapse in black support for Democrats in November. Republicans rose to 27% among black voters, up from 12. So a 2x increase plus for Republicans and a 20-point collapse for Democrats. Not going well. Not going well for the Democrat Party. And it turns out that it's not just Democrats collapsing at the polls. It's not just Jussie Smollett collapsing in his courtroom, going to jail, and maybe Hillary Clinton's lawyer collapsing soon, going to prison, as John Durham probe continues to heat up. Man, this is taking longer than Jussie Smollett's trial. Jussie Smollett's trial took like 3 years, the Durham probe. When will it end? Well, we have some important news. The judge has struck down Sussman's request to eliminate the factual background on him for the trial. What does this mean? Well, you may remember that John Durham dropped a ton of facts about Michael Sussman, the scumbag lawyer that shopped around the fake PP dossier to federal law enforcement agencies, the CIA, the FBI, and so on. A federal judge presiding over the case of former Clinton campaign lawyer Michael Sussman rejected his motion to strike the factual background section of John Durham's filing. That happened yesterday. Sussman's legal team last month filed a motion demanding that the court strike portions of Durham's February 11th filing, including the factual background section, claiming that it would taint a jury pool. I'm not going to strike anything from the record, the U.S. District Court judge said. His name's Christopher Cooper. And Thursday, during a status hearing, whatever effect the filing has already passed. Durham, in February 11th, filed a factual background. In question, alleged Sussman provided 2 government agencies with information from a tech executive that attempted to tie Donald Trump, to who was a presidential candidate at the time, to the Russia-based Alpha Bank. This was, of course, a debunked hoax. It wasn't real. The tech executive has since identified himself as Rodney Joffe. Joffe is not named in Durham's filing and has not been charged with a crime. Durham alleged that Sussman, Joffe, and Joffe's associate exploited internet traffic about a particular healthcare provider, Trump Tower, Trump Central Park West Apartment Building, and the Executive Office of the United States, President of the United States, to establish an interference narrative. All of it was fake. So they were taking information that this tech executive was giving to them and then using it against Donald Trump to open phony investigations. Durham alleges Sussman's billings and records reflect that he repeatedly billed the Clinton campaign for his work. Sussman's legal team, in its motion to strike the allegations, said Durham had done more than simply file a document identifying potential conflicts of interest. Rather, the special counsel has again made filings in the case unnecessary, including prejudicial and false allegations that are irrelevant, blah, 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 blah. Cry more, lib. Cry more, lib. Hopefully Sussman goes to jail soon. Sussman's a dirty, dirty dog. In separate motions, Durham argued that there was no basis to strike any part of the filing and pushed back against the claims. The judge eventually the judge just tossed this, and we will go forward with the trial. That's very good. Let's see more people from Clinton world go to jail. People who should probably also go to jail and people who will probably wish that they were in prison when a massive class action lawsuit drops against them will be United Airlines executives. United Airlines was, of course, the first airline to come out and virtue signal that they were going to fire staffers for being unvaccinated. We're going to fire staffers for being unvaccinated. Well, guess what? All you libs, hollow, again, giant holes in the head, wind whipping through the ears, drooling, all you libs clapping like seals when you saw this, they're hiring all the unvaccinated workers back. That's right, according to Reuters. United Airlines Holding will allow workers who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19 for religious or medical exemptions return to work at the end of this month, the Wall Street Journal reported on Wednesday. The move permits staffers with exceptions and exemptions from the carrier's vaccination requirement for its U.S. employees to return from unpaid leave or from non-customer-facing roles where they were allowed to apply for alternative to their regular jobs, the report said. United Airlines declined to comment on the matter when it was approached by Reuters last month. The U.S. Appeals Court ordered a new review of the decision to block United Airlines from enforcing the COVID-19 mandate. Chicago-based United was the first major airline carrier to issue a vaccine requirement. The chief executive officer, Scott Kirby, had defended his employees' mandate, saying, "We did this for safety. We believe it saved lives." LOL. Kirby said that 200 of the company's 67,000 employees refused to get vaccinated and were fired. The 200 employees won't be brought back, and the newly hired workers will still have to be vaccinated, the Wall Street Journal report said so. Our advice, and we're no lawyer, so take it with a grain of salt. I do love salt. We're no lawyer. We're just people who like salty, delicious red meat right from the grill, even though the cost of meat's gone up like gasoline these days. Ladies and gentlemen, file a class action lawsuit against United Airlines. I mean, these people are such scum. It was found unconstitutional when Biden tried to do this through the Department of Labor and through OSHA. And you should get together and sue. And go to a place like Florida, sue United Airlines in a Florida court, and say, you deprived us of our employment, of our status, of the ability to provide for our families. Screw you, United. I haven't flown on United since they did this, and I won't. Sometimes you have to fly these airlines to get to places. I will do it very begrudgingly and angry, but angrily, if I do have to fly United, I'll wear a mask. I don't know. What will my mask say? Unvaccinated? I don't know. I'll wear a mask just for my United flight if I ever have to take one. But I'm not flying United anytime soon. And, ladies and gentlemen, as a massive bonus for watching up to this point, we have a final nugget of good news for you on Good News Friday. Hillary Clinton is not running for president, according to Hillary Clinton. Watch.
But speaking of that, are you open to running for president again? Oh,
no.
Come on. Just
no.
Long runway.
No, but I'm no, but I am certainly going to be active in supporting women running for office and other candidates who I think should be reelected or elected, both women and men, because I think, there's a big debate going on, as you know so well, Mika, in our country, but in other countries as well, about the future of democracy, of economic opportunity, of climate change, of health, and other important issues. So I will stay active in all of those debates.
We need you. Madam Secretary, I thank you. It's valuable to have your insight at a time like this.
Hillary Clinton not running for president because she's far too busy getting ready to Epstein. Jussie Smollett, I don't know. I don't know. That's what Jussie Smollett said. Jussie Smollett said, I will not be committing suicide. If something horrible happens to me, it wasn't me. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's what Hillary's preparing for. What does Jussie Smollett know about Hillary Clinton? What does he know? We must find out. Does Jussie Smollett have information that will lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton? Is that what this is all about? Ladies and gentlemen, we must get the answers to this, and we endeavor to do so. So thank you for tuning in to The Benny Show. It's so wonderful to see all of you on this platform. We do these lives every single day at 11:30. If you want to support our channel, and again, we deeply appreciate just your viewership, but if you want to support our channel, please punch, share, please click like on the platform that you're watching. Leave a comment. We read the comments. We love reaching out and talking with you. This is a big movement. We're in a movement together. And the point of this show is very simple. God, family, country. That's what we care about. God, family, country. We want to save America, and we're free people. We were born free people. It was a wonderful gift, the greatest gift you could possibly be given. We were given it by our ancestors who fought really hard for it, and we're not going to let them take that away from us. We're going to save this country. We're going to destroy these atrophying, broken systems, and we're going to preserve what is beautiful about this place. We're going to build something new and wonderful. Away with the old, in with the new. And sorry to leave you with that cringy Hillary Clinton, Mika Brzezinski commentary there. Yikes, how cringy. The Karen Power Hour. You won't get that on this show, ladies and gentlemen. Just your boy Benny, spitting facts. It's been wonderful to see you this week. Again, record viewership yesterday. It was really, really wonderful to see. It's really neat to see how hard work pays off. And God bless you for tuning in. God bless America. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy it. This is the greatest country in the world. See ya.